Welcome back to the Starman Report. I'm Eli Burton, your host, and let's dive in. Our first story this week lit up the skies off the Florida coast as the Crew Dragon Resilience, carrying the astronauts of the Polaris Dawn mission, made a spectacular splashdown. Returning in the early morning of Sunday, September 15th, this mission not only reached the highest altitude by a crewed spacecraft since 1972, but also marked the first commercial spacewalk in history. After landing, the recovery ship Shannon was right there in the Gulf to greet them, ensuring a safe return. The Polaris Dawn mission wasn't all just about floating in space. The crew also completed 40 different science experiments while up in orbit. These experiments range from studying space adaptation syndrome to streaming a violin performance via Starlink. Yes, you heard that right. Commercial astronaut Gillis treated the cosmos to Rey's theme from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And Isaacman's glimpse outside the spacewalk summed it up perfectly.
SpaceX, back at home we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world.
And indeed, for a moment, it must have been. Next up, we're turning our eyes to the moon, or more precisely, the far side of the moon. Chinese Chang'e 6 mission has brought back fascinating insights from this uncharted territory. The samples reveal a richer variety of materials like feldspar and glass, possibly flung from distant impacts on the moon's surface. Notably, these samples have less creep. And no, I don't mean creepy, I mean KREEP. This is a lunar rock type enriched with potassium, rare earth elements, and phosphorus. These discoveries are important because they shed light on the moon's volcanic activity and its historic evolution, both of which offer a deeper insight into the solar system's impact history. And speaking of moon mysteries, the NASA Artemis program is not just about putting astronauts back on the moon for the first time since Apollo, it is also about innovating how we explore. The Lunar Navigation Challenge is now ongoing and open for your brilliant ideas on how to help Artemis astronauts traverse the lunar South Pole's tricky terrain. The challenge asks that you imagine and create the design for a device that works in extreme conditions without power of electronics, helping astronauts navigate steep cliffs and boulders in the permanently shadowed regions like the Shackleton Crater. This is your chance to contribute directly to the next era of lunar exploration, and you can find the full details at freelancer.com. Well, guys, that's all for this time. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Starman Report, and I look forward to having you back for more of the most exciting news in space.